New question, the member from Kitchener-Waterloo.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. My question is to the Premier. This Premier's record on childcare just keeps getting worse, and families across Ontario are paying the price. Ontario has no comprehensive plan for childcare, no targets, no timelines. Most recently, the Premier backtracked on her support for the $15 a day childcare. The Premier has stood on the sidelines while public childcare centres close their doors in communities like Sarnia, Sudbury, Windsor, London. Peel Region closed their 12 regional centres as well. And now 5 public childcare centres are at risk of closure in Waterloo Region. Each of these 5 childcare centres has attained the triple gold standard, raising the bar program for the last 12 years. They serve 250 children and their families. Every time we lose a public child care centre, we lose quality care for kids in this province and good jobs in our communities. Why is this Premier doing nothing to stop the closure of quality child care centres and doing nothing to stand up for child care that Ontario families so desperately need?
Yes, Speaker, and I'm very pleased to tell you that, in fact, I think the member opposite has misrepresented the data. In fact,
The minister will withdraw.
Misinterpreted, perhaps, but let me tell you what the data is, and then people can argue over how they feel about that. Since 2003, our government has almost doubled the provincial spending on childcare. We are now up to over $1 billion in spending on childcare. What that has allowed us to do is increase the number of licensed childcare spaces in Ontario by 70%, so that we now have added 130,000 additional licensed childcare spaces.
Thank you. Supplementary.
And to the Premier. On Monday, when our leader asked the Premier why she refuses to support making childcare more affordable, the Premier said, "We have no understanding of what that would mean to the people of Ontario." Well, parents across Ontario, they know exactly what quality, affordable childcare means. It means not being stuck on a wait list for a spot you can afford. It means knowing that your child has access to the safest care and with qualified professionals. There are approximately 3,800 families and children on Waterloo Region's wait list. Almost half of those families need immediate care right now. Yet the province sits on its hands while centres have been closed or privatized across the province. Will the Premier commit to a real plan for childcare in Ontario that sets targets, that sets timetables to grow childcare in this province, rather than overseeing the closure of yet more high-quality public centres across this province?
Thank you. Minister.
Speaker, what we have done since we were elected first in 2003 is we have introduced full-day kindergarten. We've created 130,000 new childcare spaces.
Finish, please.
We've doubled the number, the amount of money that we're spending to over $1 billion. We've spent $120 million in building new child care spaces, new licensed child care spaces. We have made a huge, unprecedented investment in child care. And what we have said since the beginning, not just the beginning of the election, but the beginning of this story, is that when Mr. Mulcair said he was going to introduce a new program, he didn't say how he would
Answer.
He didn't say what he was going to expect Ontario to pay for, because we know we've already made a huge investment